back. Just filming a quick one today because I unexpectedly had to replace my phone, and I'm kind of just trying to see how the camera on the new phone performs. So I just got myself some Bloomburrow Play Boosters. Just something quite fun to open. One of my favorite sets in recent years, I think. No need to talk a lot, though. I feel like we can just get straight into it here. These tear notches are a very nice idea, but they never seem to work. Alright, so we have a token of Intrepid Rabbit. This is one of the Offspring cards. Quite creepy looking, honestly. This should be a basic land, never mind. Well, now you've seen it, so here it is. A Bonebind Orator. A 2/2 Squirrel Warlock Bard for 1 and a black. You can pay 3 and a black and exile it from your graveyard to return another creature from your graveyard to your hand. It seems a little bit too weak and too slow. That said, the art is pretty neat. Quite dramatic with the backlighting on that and the... I don't even know what that is. The headdress that this Warlock Bard is wearing. It's pretty neat. We have a Waterspout Warden, a 3/2 Frog Soldier for 2 and a blue, and whenever it attacks, if another creature entered the battlefield under your control this turn, it gains flying until end of turn. Designed for limited, I would say. Oh, great art. Savor, an instant for 1 and a black. Gives target creature -2/-2 until end of turn, and you create a food token. And I mean, just look at that art. That is so cool. Like, you've got the eye of some kind of reptile predator, and the reflection of a scared... what is that, a squirrel? Probably. That's pretty cool. I've got Waxwane Witness, a 2/4 Bat Cleric for 3 and white with flying and vigilance. And whenever you gain or lose life during your turn, this gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Yeah, that seems alright. Whisker Quill Scribe, a 2/2 Mouse Citizen for 1 and a red with a Valiant, which means that whenever it becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, you may discard a card, and if you do, draw a card. I mean, bear with upside. I'm always going to be a fan of those. We have Junkblade Bruiser, a 4/5 Raccoon Berserker for 3, and then Split Cruel ×2. It has Trample, and whenever you expend 4, it gets +2/+1 until end of turn. Expend 4 meaning if you spend your 4th mana to cast spells, that's expend 4. But mainly what I like about this is the art. That is a really nice stylized background and creature. Omar Ryan. Very cool art. Then we've got a Baker's Bane Duo. A Squirrel Raccoon 2/2 for 1 and a green. When it enters, you create a food, and when you expend 4, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Really cute art on this one, and I think this is one of the best cards in limited for this set. Then we've got a Bravekin Duo, a 1/1 Rabbit Mouse for single white mana. And for 1, untap this. Target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. That seems a bit weak. If this was at instant speed, I think it would be quite fun. But as it stands, that's not great. Then we've got Wildfire a sorcery for 1 red, gift a card, which means that you may let an opponent draw a card, and then you get a bonus for it. The gift mechanic, I think, is really interesting and has a lot of potential for future designs. This deals 2 damage to each creature, but if you promise the gift, it instead deals 1 damage to any target and 2 to each creature. Interesting. I feel like the bonus isn't quite strong enough here for letting an opponent draw a card, but the art's neat. And we've got a Bloomburrow Escort, a 2/1 bird scout for 1 and a blue with flash and flying. When it enters, target creature you control gains hexproof until end of turn. I mean, that seems quite good. You've got decent stats for a 2-mana flyer. You can cast this at instant speed and it protects a creature. That's very nice. Then we've got a Harvest Right Host, a 3/3 rabbit citizen for 2 and white. And when it or another creature you control enters, target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. And then you draw a card if it's the second time this ability is resolved this turn. I think I should actually put this in a deck I have, because I have a deck that's based around if a creature enters you make a token, which means it will resolve for the second time. But it says another rabbit you control enters. Not creature. So never mind that. Then we've got Paw Patch Formation, an instant for 1 and a green. Choose 1, destroy target creature with flying, destroy target enchantment, or draw a card and create a food token. Yep, that's a classic limited card. Potentially decent in probably Commander. It's good enough there, where the flexibility is good. I mean, worst case, it's draw a card and make a little token. That's decent. And our rare. Oh, nice. Starfall Invocation. A sorcery for 3 white with gift a card. Destroy all creatures. If the gift was promised, return a creature card put into your graveyard this way to the battlefield under your control. This is one of my favorite board wipes, honestly, ever. It's either a slightly overcosted Wrath, or if you let an opponent draw a card, it's a Wrath that leaves you with a creature. It's great. And there's one more card here. There's our basic land. Okay. Full art, basic mountain. Again, like I said, I love Bloomburrow, and the basics are definitely a big part of that too. There's 4 of each basic, representing each of the 4 seasons, which is just really neat. On to our second pack. A little hard to open that one. Let's start with a token. It's a Thornplate Intimidator, which is another one of the Offspring tokens. And then we've got ourselves a Daggerfang duo. A 3/2 Rat Squirrel for 2 and a black with Death Touch, and when it enters, you may mill 2 cards. Yeah, seems alright. What is that word? Pileated Provisioner. A 3/4 Bird Scout for 4 and a white with flying. When it enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control without flying. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's good enough for limited. We've got a Hidden Grotto, a land that surveils when it enters, and you can tap it for colors, or it can filter 1 mana into any color. I mean, it's color fixing for limited. That's pretty much all this is for, I assume. But it's good enough for that, so sure, why not? Oh, now this guy rolls. This is Sun Shower Druid, a 0/2 Frog Druid for single green. When it enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, and you gain 1 life. Which means this is a 1 mana 1/3 that gains you 1 life, or it puts an all important +1/+1 counter on whatever you played the previous turn. It's quite strong. Then we've got Alania's Pathmaker, a 4/2 otter wizard for 3 in red. When it enters, exile the top card of your library, and until end of your next turn, you may play that card. Simple, efficient, impulse draw for red in limited, classic stuff. Now we've got 3/3 Mascot, a 2/1 artifact creature shapeshifter for 2 mana with Changeling. And for 1, you can, well, filter 1 mana into any color. Again, one of those cards that's clearly meant for limited, where it has Changeling, so it goes into any of the animal tribes in Bloomburrow, and then you can filter 1 mana each turn. Rabbit Response, an instant for 2 white. Creatures you control get +2/+1 until end of turn. If you control rabbits, scry 2. Which, again, you know, one of those things, if you're doing rabbits in limited, this is great. What's best about this, though, is the artwork. Look at that. That is so cool. Honestly, most of the artwork in Bloomburrow is just gorgeous. Clifftop Lookout, a 1/2 Frog Scout for 2 and a green with reach. When it enters, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I think this is one of the better landfall cards to run if you're not a fan of shuffling a commander deck. Oh, I run this in a deck. Big fan of this guy. Shoreline Looter, a 1/1 rat rogue for 1 and blue. Can't be blocked, and it has a threshold. Whenever this deals damage to a player, draw a card, then discard a card, unless you have threshold, in which case you don't have to discard. This is really good. I've got Bloomcreed Mentor, a 2/3 Bird Scout for 1 white blue. That's flying, and whenever it or another creature you control with flying enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control without flying. Good and limited. I don't know if it's good anywhere else, because you either want to build a flying themed deck or a non-flying deck. I've got an Honored Dray Leader, a 1/1 Squirrel Warrior for 2 and a green with Trample. When it enters, put a +1/+1 counter on it for each other squirrel and or food you control. And whenever a squirrel food enters, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So this would get very large very fast, I assume. Yeah, I think this is probably quite good in limited again, but I don't think there's enough good squirrels in standard to make this work. Oh, cool. Fabled Passage. A land that you can sacrifice and tap to search your library for basic, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. But if you control 4 or more lands, untap the land. Very nice. Classic card with, I think this is new artwork for Bloomburrow, and I think it's quite a lot nicer than the old one. Then we've got a full art basic forest. Very nice. Don't know if you heard that. There's a ship going by where I'm at. And a foil mouse trapper. A 3/2 mouse soldier for 2 and white. With flash and has Valiant. Whenever Mouse Trapper becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, tap target creature an opponent controls. It seems okay, I guess. And our last pack. Again, let's start with the token. Oh, cool. it's the Bloomburrow treasure token, which is little figurines of raccoons. That's cute. That's really cute. Our first common is Thistledown Players. A 3/3 mouse bard for 2 and a white, so already decent rate. And whenever it attacks, untap target non-land permanent. Well, worst case, this is a 3/3 for 3 with vigilance. Now we've got Finch Formation, a 2/2 bird scout for 2 and a blue. It has offspring 3, so our first card actually has offspring, which means if you play this, you can pay its offspring cost, and if you do, you create a 1/1 token copy of this creature. Really cool mechanic. It's got flying, and when it enters, target creature you control gains flying until end of turn. Pretty simple, but again, flexible, which is always pretty good. Because you can give one thing flying, you can make the extra token. Although I think paying an extra 3 in this case is probably not worth it most of the time. We've got another copy of Saver. I'm going to put that aside for my cool art binder, actually. Waxwayne Witness. Again, we've got a Tempest Angler, a 2/2 Otter Wizard for 1, and then a hybrid is it ×2. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Pretty good. I mean, most Spellslinger decks don't really want creature combat as their main win condition, but if it helps you win the game, then why not? Now we've got a Druid of the Spade, a 2/3 Rabbit Druid for 2 and a green, and as long as you control a token, this gets +2/+0 and has trample. There's a lot of things that make tokens in Bloomburrow, let me tell you. A lot of food, a lot of treasure, and the offspring mechanic. So most of the time it's going to be a 3 mana 4/3 with trample. Now we've got a Frilled Spark Shooter, a 3/3 Lizard Archer for 3 and a red with Menace and Reach, and when it enters with a +1/+1 counter on it if an opponent lost life this turn. I mean, that's solid. Now we've got, oh wow, this artwork, wow. I'm just gonna get that nice up close for you. Just look at that. That is so cool. It's Hazel's Nocturne, an instant for 3 and a black. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Each opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. That's going straight in the cool art pile. We've got Calamitous Tide, a sorcery for 4 blue. Return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hands. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card. That seems very, very expensive for what it is. We've got a Lily Splash Mentor, a 4/4 Frog Druid for 2, a green and a blue with Reach. And for 1, a green and blue, exile another target creature you control, then return to the battlefield under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Activate only as a sorcery. This is repeatable Blink. Sorcery speed only, of course, because otherwise this would be ridiculously good. But still, if you're doing Blink stuff in, green-blue, this guy is quite playable. We've got Ruthless Negotiation, a sorcery for a single black. Target opponent exiles a card from their hand. If the spell was cast from a graveyard, draw a card, and then has flashback for 4 and a black. Interesting. Our rare is a Paw Patch Recruit, a 2/1 Rabbit Warrior for a single green with Offspring 2, has trample, and whenever a creature you control becomes target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control other than that creature. That seems pretty strong. I'm going to put that aside. And then we have another forest. Very pretty, very orange. And our foil is a Dire Sight. Oh, that's quite nice as a foil, actually. It's a sorcery for 2 and a black. Surveil 2, then draw 2 cards. You lose 2 life. was my little mostly test recording of the new phone. And yeah, that's that. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.